So last week, I had the opportunity to talk to a police officer from here in Tucson who's working with the local homeless population during this time of COVID. And I also had the opportunity to talk to an ICU nurse who also happens to be my sister and just chat with them about some of the ways that the community has been reacting to some of our frontline workers. And I thought it was a very interesting conversation, so I wanted to share it. So listen up.
I am Josh Parrish. I'm a police officer for a local agency here in town. Um, I worked in patrol, the standard like you see a guy in a cop car position for about 4 years, but just recently I switched over. I'm now on it's called a special assignment. It's part of the mental health support team, or MIST, but my specific job is homeless outreach.
So, how has homeless outreach been impacted by coronavirus right now?
It's been a really interesting challenge. It changes day to day. The
Mm-hmm.
cool thing we're doing right now is we did it for the first time today, actually. I went in this morning and helped out. We have a screening tool where we can ask just some basic medical questions, figure out if you're in an at-risk group based on age, pre-existing conditions, that kind of stuff. Um, or if you're showing symptoms, or if you've had contact with somebody that was showing symptoms. And then based on that screening tool, we'll either take you to one of two hotels that we've built a contract with. So if you're an at-risk person with no symptoms, so an elderly homeless individual over 60-ish with no symptoms, you go to one hotel and you can quarantine there for, I want to say the contract is like 2 months or something,
Whoa.
like for a long time. And then we have a second hotel, which is you're an at-risk person with some symptoms, or we're pretty sure you have it, or you've had contact with somebody that has it. And that's even if you're not like an elderly person. If you have symptoms, you'll go to this other one, and there's medical treatment and doctors and all that kind of treatment stuff there. And you can quarantine and get care in that hotel. Yeah, we're required to wear masks at all time now. So when I'm out in the field interacting with the public, I have to wear the N95 mask and then a cloth mask over that one.
Wow. Now,
Because go
the
ahead.
agency has supplied all that, right? Like they have enough supplies for you guys to be covered?
And a lot of the cloth mask stuff has actually been donated.
Really?
A lot of people came together and volunteered their time and ordered my agency name into the masks, and or just donated extra supplies that they had. So that's been really cool.
That is really cool. What are some other ways that you've found yourself impacted by, or like encouraged maybe by your community around you because of your job right now?
We've actually had a number of people call in. So I mentioned the mask thing. I'm required to wear that now. That started Thursday, so just yesterday, where I was required to wear it. And up until that point, there were actually a bunch of people. We had a virtual meeting with our chief yesterday. He was telling us that a lot of people called in and were concerned for our safety and our health because we weren't wearing masks, which is really cool to hear.
Yeah.
Especially with the way police are kind of portrayed in the media, you know, especially leading up to this point. Right now it's not too bad, but leading up to this, everybody hated police.
Yeah, you guys could be
In the
portrayed
media.
as the bad guys.
Yeah. So to hear that people were calling in because they were concerned for us was really cool to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. You're recording. We're ready.
Okay. I'm Jonica. I am a critical care nurse in the cardiac ICU.
So, how has your job been affected by the coronavirus so far?
As a frontline worker and as a bedside nurse, it takes on different things every day. So every single day, it's changing. So every single day, we receive multiple emails with changing in policies on how to do our job.
Have any of the moments been like scary or intimidating, or you're kind of used to stressful so you can roll with it pretty well?
I think the hardest part is that we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So we're always questioning ourselves now. So there's some hesitancy in how to do our job and how to help people, especially emergency situations.
Yeah.
So that can definitely be scary. It makes us feel insecure a little bit, where before we knew what our role was, what needed to be done. But now we have that extra layer that we have to consider in every single situation, every time we walk into a patient's room, every emergency. But the thing is what we had to do was we have to treat every single patient now as if they have possibly have the infection. To be consistent across the board, that's now how we treat every single person. So that's definitely a huge change in how we do our patient care.
Yeah. You know, you've also said to me before about one of the like the darkest or the heaviest changes through all of this has been the lack of visitors in the hospital. Would you be willing to share a little bit about that?
Sure. I believe that for me personally, that's the hardest part for me. I can flow with the policy changes, and just, the system changes throughout. But the hardest part is the profound sadness that is in the acute care setting right now. How lonely it is, how quiet it is. There's no family members for these people who are sick. Some of them just recovering from surgery, but some of them are fighting for their lives, and they don't have that support system as a spouse, a mother, a father, a sibling, whatever it is at the bedside. So the rooms are empty, the hallways are empty. We don't have that. So a lot of times these people are all alone in their spite.
Oh, that sounds like it'd be super scary. Like even, those people like you'd mentioned who aren't even in the COVID situation, just anyone who has to be in there now has to kind of be alone.
Yes.
As a frontline worker, what does it mean to you the way that the community has kind of stood up to support you and to sort of recognize the extra risk that you're taking on to be able to serve the people of this community? Like, what has that kind of meant for you, or what kind of impact have you seen from that?
There's actually two sides to this. That's evident because we still have to go out into public, and we are out there, even just to stop and grab a cup of coffee at Circle K. There's most of it is very positive. There's a lot of support. I get free coffee on my way to work, little things like that. There's, a lot of public service announcements, things like that. It is nice to be recognized because we work really hard and we love what we do. But there's also another side to it where some nurses are being verbally assaulted in public and told that they're carriers and they shouldn't be out in public spreading germs that we're taking from hospitals and healthcare settings and out into the public. So there's definitely a two parts to that, but it's not as noticeable,
Mm-hmm.
but it is happening to some of our coworkers that have come in with stories about that happening if they go out in their scrubs before work or after work to pick something up. I think most people take it with a grain of salt. They understand that this is very fear driven right now, and that there is so much uncertainty, and that is what scares people the most. And that's where that comes from. And so we don't blame people for that, and we don't strike back. They're just dealing with it however they need to deal with it.
That's good.
For me personally, I've actually noticed that my group of friends, and we're all spread out across the country, we've all made more of an effort to connect with each other and reach out to each other. So that's nice because we do get consumed in our very busy professional lives, our family lives, whatever it is. And then it's, once or twice a year, holidays or something. But I feel like people are definitely being more active, and social media is allowing us to do that. I do definitely pick up the phone and talk to people more. I want to hear their voice. I want to hear, the tone of their voice. And some things are lost in text translation. And so sometimes it's really nice just to pick up the phone and talk to people.
I want to take a moment right in the beginning just to say thank you. Thank you to those two for sharing and for what they do, but also thank you to every single police officer and hospital worker and person who is on the front lines here in Tucson. You are serving our community and you are spending so much effort to keep us safe and to keep us healthy. So thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing for us. But I was struck by something that my sister, Jonica, the nurse, had said she'd experienced in the community. She said she's kind of seen two things. Some people in the community have actually pulled together. They've been supportive or encouraging, trying to be there for each other and appreciative. But she also said she's kind of seen the other thing happen in community, that maybe because of feelings of fear or anxiety, they've actually allowed those feelings to push them out of community, separate them from being supportive or together. And I thought that was really interesting just because we talk all the time in our high school group or in the Cassis community about how much we all need relationship. We all need to be connected to other people. And we talk about Christ all of the time, but we see in his own examples and in his own life here that community and relationship and connection was important for him too. I mean, he had followers and he had family and he had people that he was always around and reaching out to and talking to. And Paul's another dude in the Bible that we've talked about. I mean, he wrote most of the New Testament. He's a big deal. And he also had friends and connection and community. And he knew even when he was sitting in a prison cell, the danger of being alone, the danger of isolating and not being in connection to other people. So in a time where very normal emotional reactions like stress or fear or anxiety could potentially be causing people to push themselves out of community, how can we, here in the high school group, here in the Cassis church community, be a people of connection instead? So the question I want to pose for you this week is, who have you not heard from? Who in your normal walk of life, your normal sphere, your normal circle, have you actually not heard from in a while? Because there could be a reason for that. Like maybe they are stressed out being home with their parents and they don't actually know how to reach out and get the support that they need. Maybe they are anxious and they are fearful, or maybe they're very depressed because life has changed so much recently and they are needing help to be able to make connection again. Who have you not heard from in a while? And also, what are some ways that we can be creative in how we're connecting? Like recently, I challenged a couple people to this workout competition, and it was simple and it was short. It was one day of texting, but it was so much fun to reconnect and support each other and do something fun and different together. I've heard about people who will set up the phones so you can see each other cooking dinner, and then they can set the phones up and actually eat dinner together, and it's just a way for them to connect. Maybe it's as simple as sending a text message or some silly Marco Polo or a meme, just saying hey dude, thinking about you. How are you? What's going on? Haven't heard from you in a while. What are some creative ways that we can stay connected right now while everything's virtual and weird? But even after this, because connection will always be important, even if these social restrictions get pulled, we still are people who need relationship and community and to be with. So who have you not heard from in a while? And what are some creative ways that we can stay connected? So wash your hands and know that you are loved and you are missed.